Hey everyone, welcome back to the shop. Following the success of covering the ailerons, let's start covering the wings. It's finally time. It's been a long time, but it's finally time. Let's go ahead. We're going to get the wings covered. I will start with the bottom wing first, just because that's usually the easiest way to start. This one, no ailerons we have to worry about. And it's I could do it in one piece. I'll probably half it. So what we'll do is we will go ahead and pretty much go half this side with a little bit of an overlap, maybe a ½ inch overlap. We'll do half this way, then we'll do the half the other way. Just because I'm going to try to figure out how to conserve enough material so that way we're going to have more than enough, because I still have, I know I've got more than enough. I'm just trying to not waste as much as possible. So I just got to figure out how I want to cut the fabric beforehand, because I can cut this out for both the top and the bottom. So I'll have pretty much just 4 pieces cut and ready to go. We'll start with the bottom first, because that's going to be easier. The changes I will make on this one when I do the bottom. On the aileron, let me grab an aileron. All right, what I did on the ailerons is I came in, and when I did the bottom first, I glued it up on this trailing edge. What I'm going to try to do on the wings, because it's really not going to make a difference, what I'll probably do is go ahead and just leave it flush. Have not decided yet. I'll make that decision when I'm doing it. But I think I just want to leave it flush so it's not going to overlap this. Then when I come in with the poly tack and put it around the outside, I can overlap this section down here just slightly, so that the poly tack is in contact with the fabric on the bottom. And then when I glue this piece on, I'm going to do what I did on this side. Now I don't know how well you can see it. I'll come in, I'll make the little teeny slit cuts, probably about every, maybe 3/16 of an inch, and then overlap it so that way everything, even with the poly tack down here too, it'll all be firmly adhered to itself. So, and I don't expect a problem. I've done it like that in the past. I've just never had this type of trailing edge. So let's get started. Before we begin, I've got the lower wing set up upside down. And like I said earlier, I believe back in one of the videos, could be the aileron video, I'm going to go ahead and have an overlap pretty much right in the center of the wing. I did have enough material where if I wanted to do full sheets across the way that I wanted the grain to run on the wings, it wasn't conducive. It's because you kind of have if you look at how this stuff flexes back and forth, this is more of the strong pull, versus on this side when you pull it, it kind of puckers up. So I wanted the grain of the fabric running this way. Especially on the bottom of the wings. The top of the wings is not as critical, but I want it on the bottom of the wings, because this, as I've said in the past, actually becomes a structural member of the wing. Once you get everything attached, the nitrate dope adheres this to the wood, so it becomes a strong part of the wing. So I want to make sure that, at least with the wings, it's going to be running in the proper direction. Over here on the fuselage, not as concerned in certain areas of it. I'll make sure that on the tail section, the flying surfaces on the tail section, it's going to be in the proper direction. The rest of the fuselage, there's so much strength on that thing with the wood, it's not going to be as critical. So let me go ahead and get started on the wing, getting everything prepped and ready to go, and I'll bring you back just before I start putting cover on. I decided to bring you guys back in because of what I'm doing and how I'm taking care of it. Because as I was starting to lay this out, the original thing was I was going to come over here and pretty much just nitrate dope this and cut it after, so it's going to be a straight line. I decided I'm going to do this afterwards, and I'll show you what I mean by afterwards when the time comes. One error I forgot to make was I forgot to go ahead and put on the inside here, put fabric. So this side over here, I'll get everything tied in tight. I'll put that on second. As much as I don't want to put it on second, I'll figure out how I'm going to make it work, because I may just cut this short and try to get it in there first. So that'll probably be the best bet. Just put this, pretty much this, whatever you want to call it, 90-degree angle part on this leading edge cheek on the inside. I can go ahead and put the little piece in there. So that I'll worry about later on. Anyway, what I decided to do, because I realized I was going to start fighting issues on this, was to go around. I started my tack here and then it went out to the wingtip over there and put it down. So that way I was holding it solid from this end to that end of the wing. And it was right over here. Here was the other place where I went ahead and tacked it. And then I came through and just made sure that this was glued down to full length. So that's an anchor point. And then I'm doing this edge here. I already did this on the last rib, tacked it down here. Now I'm just pulling everything this way, making sure that it's not going to be fighting the fabric. And let's get it all the way over here. So I got about another 10 inches. So I'll just leave you guys watching as I go ahead and get this put in. The fabric does shrink down when you put heat on it, so I'm just making sure that this is as close to perfect right now. That way it's going to be less of an issue getting everything shrunk down properly. Said it does not take that long to get this to the point where I'm just forcing this through the fabric into the wood below it, so that way we know we have a good glue joint. Okay, and there you go. So now this whole box, this rectangular box, is done, ready to go. This I'm going to come across here and bring it out about another 1/4 inch or so, and I'm just going to go ahead, quickly just wet it down, come back with a straight edge and a very sharp razor blade, and very lightly just score through it, so that way I can separate it through, and this will be a nice hard edge right here. Didn't want to leave you out. When I'm cutting the fabric for the leading edge, because I'm taking my time on this one, it's nothing quick, we're just going to try to do it right. What I did was I came in, laid down some masking tape, and this is frog tape. I am not sponsored, but it's frog tape. The stuff works awesome. So what I did is I came and I put this on in a very straight line across the leading edge, and I'll do the same on the other side. Then go ahead and pull this down over the top and let the dope wick through the fabric past the edge of this. Then I come in with the razor blade and just cut right down along that edge of the yellow, and then you come back in, and as long as you don't drop things, you go ahead and you pull everything off, and lo and behold, you got yourself a perfectly straight little line. So with this part here being done, now I've got to go ahead and wrap this around the wing tip. So it's going to be very easy, and I don't know how well you can see it, but all I'm going to do is come on in, and I'll start pretty much right about 1/3 of the way through, maybe half of the way through, because I want to finish up over here on the leading edge, so I could pull this down and then slowly pull it around as I'm putting the glue in there. So, or the nitrate dope in there. So this will get cut across straight to a certain extent. It'll probably be sloped slightly up, but I just want to make sure that we can get this down adhered to the outside wingtip. So, because once that's done, this half of the bottom of the wing is done. Okay, half of the bottom wing, the bottom half of the bottom wing is finished. All right, so I came in, there's a little bit of trim work to do, but that's easy. That'll take care of that little bit of a light sand before I put the top on. So we've got it all the way out to the wingtip. Everything sits very nicely all the way around. And as we come down to here, here's that little teeny bit of like a little, not quite 1/2 inch, probably 3/8 inch overlap. And I'll be doing the same on the other side when it comes time. I went ahead and put this corner piece in, so this is covered. I have not done this, but what I'll do is I'll just come in and use some scrap pieces to go ahead and fill that and then trim that out. So that's taken care of. You already saw the front edge, nice and straight. So once again, this is done. I'll do that because you guys already know how I did this. So I'll see you guys when we flip it over and get ready to start covering the top. Another day, another side. Today we're going to go ahead, I'm going to get the top side glued down and hopefully ready to shrink. What I did is I came in already early this morning and it's already set up. I put down a whole bead along the trailing edge of poly-tack. So this one's ready to go. It's going to be the same thing as the bottom, only the top. So it's going to have that weird little where I'm going to have to come in, do the front first instead of working with the front and the rear like I can on the bottom because they're flat, and make sure that everything is taut enough so when it comes time to shrink it, there's very little shrinkage. Now the top is a whole different animal. As you remember from the last video with the rear part of the ailerons, I had it where it kind of wants to pucker on the back, and that's where you need to get everything as snug as possible before you get the iron on it. That way there's less chance of anything really kind of going wrong and leaving a wrinkle in there where you're going to have to go ahead and try to remove everything you just took all that time gluing down, and I don't want to do that. So let me go ahead, I'll get the camera reset, and let's get started. What should I do? Although the covering is on, looks very nice. The problem I have, because we knew I had to do too much work on this plane because the first person messed it up, I will have the fabric touch down on the rear spar when I go ahead and put on nitrate dope. What I could do is tear this off, come in and file these down so it's not going to happen, or just let that side go the way that this side does, and then go ahead and take care of the problem with the angle on the top wing. For all you guys that watched that little teeny 30-second clip I threw on as a short, but wasn't a short video, yeah, I kind of had a little issue here. In the bottom wing, I covered the top on one side, and this is for those that haven't seen it. What happened was it was going to be really close to hitting the rear spar. So when I went ahead and tightened up the weave on all the fabric, it was touching the spar. So what I ended up doing, and there'll be some pictures here, I went ahead and took the covering off. And the fun part was all of this stuff with the little teeny cutouts, the reliefs on the trailing edge, that took a while. It was just putting one nitrate dope on it, letting it's not nitrate dope, just regular lacquer thinner, letting it soften up and slowly start lifting it off. And it took probably, I don't know, for this whole long piece here, it probably took, I don't know, 15-20 minutes to get that off. And then the rest of it was real easy. Just get it wet and peel it off. So it was just this, like I said, 15-20 minutes to get this off, and to get the rest off, maybe 2 or 3 minutes. So this fabric is garbage now. Let me get the camera spun around so I can see what I'm doing to fix that problem. So when I recover it again, on the bottom wing, I'm doing it entirely on the bottom wing, and I'm doing it on the top wing as well. Just because I know if it happened on the bottom, it's going to happen on the top. So let me get the camera spun around and let me show you what I'm doing. Now, first thing I did, I went ahead and got my little flexible, whatever you want to call it, flexible attachment for my Dremel tool. So I got this thing out, got it all set up, because I was coming in originally trying it with just a little file. And even though the file works very nicely, it takes forever. So I went ahead, dug this out, just pretty much just a nice, solid, very, very aggressive sanding drum on it. And I'm going to come on in and just kind of rest this lightly, pretty much down here in the trailing edge. And I'm just coming in and I'm very slowly grinding it out. Now what I did, because I don't know if you'll be able to see it when I zoom in, I made it a little jig, and it's just going to you just rest it on the top like this, come in with a pencil, and just kind of make the arc drawing on it. And I'm not getting right down to it, I'm just using that as a reference. So I've already got these things already all marked out all the way across, and I will hang on to this. So when it comes time to do the top wing, I've already got that done. So let me go ahead and get you zoomed in so you can see what I'm doing. All right, before I begin carving this out, you can see the little line that I drew on here with my template. I'm going to come in with this. I'm going to get started. So when I get this down close, such as I've got it over here, I'll finish this out with this little perma-grit, just because that way I can kind of keep the roundness and flow it out. The way this one is already set up, I probably don't have to touch it at all, but I will just go ahead and just blend this edge in over here and this over here just as well. So let me go ahead and fire this thing up and I'll show you what I do. All right, and that's it. So now I will just go ahead and come on in with this and just do a little bit of very, very light sanding with it. And as soon as this is kind of set up, or I'm relatively happiness with the smoothness, this will just get some more nitrate dope down on top of it, get everything sealed up. I'm going to come in with a small, probably 3/32 strip of balsa just to glue up underneath this, just to add a little bit more support for what I just took out. So let me go ahead, get everything kind of pretty much just sanded out, sealed, and then I'll bring it back to show you what it's going to look like before I start recovering the top of the wing. All right, we are prepped and ready to start covering again. Just a little quick heads up on what I did. I went in and I went ahead and just kind of flayed those down so we got the proper curve. I don't know how well you can see it, I came in underneath with some 1/8 inch 3/32 balsa, just as a little reinforcement strip on the bottom of each and every one of these things. So we do have the strength, nothing else is compromised. It just relieved the part that needed to be gone. So what I'm going to do is come in, I've already got it tacked here and tacked here. This part will be pulled out. I'll go ahead and get it glued down first. Come in with a straight edge and just go ahead and cut it right down here. Hopefully you can kind of see if the light hits it right. This little teeny light score mark, that's where I'll cut this one as well. And then when it comes time to cover the other side, I'll do the same exact thing. So let me go ahead and yeah, once again, start covering. All right, guys, different color shirt, different day. I thought I actually recorded this stuff. I'm editing the video, realizing didn't record it at all. Didn't record it at all. Yeah, the bottom wing is done. I'm going to go ahead and take you off the stand and show you. It went nicer, easier, and better. Because each time you go ahead and you worry about those little teeny, whatever you want to call them, the little fillets, the little curves at the trailing edge of the wing, you get that much better at it. And for me covering right now, the way that everything's flowing together, it's working out very nicely. Every time you cover, especially even with fabric, because that's why I like fabric better than the Mylar when it comes to doing stuff like this, is that the fabric will work with you, not against you. So it's like I said, it's almost I can almost enjoy covering. For me, typically, I like building the frame. You normally find much more enjoyment in the frame work than the covering work, but at least with this, because I'm keeping it as true to scale as possible with the covering, I enjoy it that much more. As we can see, everything is now suspended by pretty close to 1/8 of an inch. And you saw what I did in the earlier part of this, that everything just came out great. And I'm really, really happy with this. If I can get you down at the right angle, and hopefully you may be able to see how the actual wood, how it's carved out or ground out, how it works very nicely, and it almost matches the arc of the fabric. So, with all things being said and done, this wing is finished. The only thing I have to do is, and I'll do it after I get the whole wing, at least a couple coats of nitrate dope on it just to seal the weave in. That's when I'll come through with just a piece of piano wire, warm it up, hit it with a torch, hit it with just a regular lighter, and it'll come in and I'll just melt these out. So I've got the 4 here, the 4 at that end, and right down in here. So with all things being said, let's call it a video. I do have to go ahead and get the top wing down and get the same little things done with the rear spar. That'll all be done off camera. I'll just bring it back just to show you what everything is going to have to be done, because I still got a little bit of work to prep that wing. So as soon as I get all that stuff taken care of, we'll go ahead and get that thing covered. And because of everything we've learned on this wing, we pretty much know that it's just going to go that much easier. So I will see you guys next time. I'm back in the shop.